Hello, I'm Ozzy, and welcome back to my little survival world. As we got through in the last episode, we managed to start making a bit of work on our base. We watched the sunset as everything ended, and I've got quite a few tunnels and little tiny rooms. This one's probably the biggest, but there's even chickens now. I remember that happening last episode. It was a bunch of zombies that I kept hearing, and then now I'm hearing chickens. Jeez, I've really got to investigate what's above me. But anyway, as per the commandments in my list, the goal for this episode is definitely to finish this base, to zhuzh it up a bit, to make it look nice and pretty. And then from there, honestly, I'm not too sure what we'll try and cross off next. But there's plenty to get through. So let's get to it. I think I may check out what's going on up there first. And to do that, I'm going to go this way. I may need to light this part up just a little bit. Oh, what do you know? Mysterious chickens disappeared. How convenient. This is a pig, though. Hello. No, I'll be nice. Might get this tree down, though. That's just going to annoy me. I remember when it finally got to editing the last episode, I'm trying to cut as much, downtime or random yapping that there is. And then I see the time and it's like 40 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'll try and be a bit more locked in, if you will. I'll try and focus more and more on giving myself room to breathe and space to, cut stuff out so the episode hopefully isn't as long. Then again, it was fun. It was fun doing all the yap. And for context, I have no idea how the episode has been received, aside from one friend saying that they watched the first 10 minutes and thought it was good. Because I'm recording maybe not all of these, but I'm trying to record a lot of this in advance, because then when the uni semester starts up again, I don't have to worry about balancing uni and recording. I can just do my uni work. Even though, frankly, I'll probably do this to avoid doing uni work, because, who wants to do that? I'm still just in awe with the shaders and stuff. It's so fascinating. I need to see if there's any other logs I'm missing. I don't think there is. I think we got rid of them all. Yeah, I think we did. Never mind, I was wrong. There was more. I had a feeling. I got a feeling. Well, I had a feeling, at least. Okay. Now on to the zhuzh. I should probably get some stone bricks, but to do that, I'm going to need to smelt all this stone. And who wants to do that? Actually, with all this wood I've got now, I can extend my little thing out. And I can, okay, hang on. Let me make some ladders first, because that was definitely part of what I wanted to do. Oh, I didn't even notice there's one down there. Actually, I need a lot more ladders than this. Maybe. Okay, that should be a bit better. And we'll put it here. Didn't really connect it down there, but we can put a little staircase here. Won't kill anyone. Oh, jeez, a lot fell down here. Well, that makes a bit of sense now looking at it, but damn. There we go. And now I can go get rid of all this. Ow. Where is this chicken? Where are you? This is actually... I feel like I'm losing the plot. Well. Let's get back to this. Let's put... isn't that just beautiful? But now I'm gonna push that out and that out by one. Maybe I should do... no, we'll leave that for now. For now, let's make a few more slabs. So now we can extend there and here. Oh, 1, 2. No, that's fine. Put it there. But now I kind of want it. Okay, no, we're gonna. Yes, we will. There. There. Because. Should I do buttons or should I do trapdoors? The questions of our time. How about instead, for now, I make fences so I don't go wandering off. That's not a crafting table. These can be sticks. That's not going to be enough. Well, what do you know? Ow. Oh, 1, 2. I guess that could work. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I was thinking of maybe adding like an overhang sort of thing. But we'll get there when we get there. For now, let us actually put a trapdoor on that. There we go. Maybe clear this back a bit. Oh my God, look at the shade. Ugh. I'm genuinely crashing out over how beautiful the shading looks in this. It's so beautiful. Oh my days. I do like the idea of having this little tiny nook that my bed's at. That's where I saw it. Let me get this, because if I'm going to need stone brick, I'm going to need a lot of this. There's more. Okay. There we go. Okay. Oh. There we go. I do also kind of like the more stony aesthetic of everything. I might do that instead. Oh, well. This would be the perfect time to have, like, you know, something like Sweden start playing in the background. You just stare out over the sun. Or Mice on Venus or something. Oh, that'd just be beautiful. This is hope core right here. I feel like I could, you know, live a long, happy life staring out at this sun. Actually, that is another great question. We need to start designating some rooms, because I forgot what I was doing with all of them. I know this was going to be a little farming area. I remember that much, which I might get onto in a bit, actually. Maybe that'll be the next task. I'll get some of this stone smelting, and then I'll go set up a farm. I feel like that would be a good course of action. Have I got more? I do have more column. Okay, good. There we go. Actually, I'll make 2. There we go. And I do have a stone cutter. I forgot about that. Okay. Dirt. I should make a shovel. Let's make a shovel. There we go. Okay. So, if I can fill this in. So I'll flatten this and fill that in. That can be our farm. There we go. Okay. Now hopefully this is enough to fill this all in. So it'll be enough to fill this little bit in. But do I go the extra mile? There's somewhere here. It's very close. I'll make another shovel. Maybe clear this bit out and push this all back. So we'll have a big open space. And actually, whilst I'm here, like that and this. Ah! Now we're cooking with gas. There we go. Okay. Now we've got a very nice flat space to work with. I think we can do some. God, I'm hearing everything. Oh, that probably explains part of it. Oh. Now just dispose of all this. There we go. Good enough. All right. We have the farm area. Now, I need to get water. I need to make a bucket. This is a bucket. Dear God, there's more. No. Yeah, so with the bucket, I'll be able to make an infinite water source, and then I can start setting this up as I see fit. I really want that coal. Oh, that's where you've been hiding. Ah, I see. That's so devious. Now I just got to find where that sheep... Oh, the sheep's probably up there, but... Oh, wait, no, the sheep's right... I need to get my eyes rechecked, bro. Well, I found the 2 big culprits of everything. It's handy. I may actually use a bit of copper at some point. I wouldn't mind using copper to make a few statues or just to add a bit more colour. Because I really dig the fully oxidized copper look. Like, I think it just looks incredible. But then again, who wants to wait for copper to oxidize? Not me. Nah, I couldn't care less, but it is what it is. Okay. Actually, that is another thing we need to work on. These stairs. And probably the stairs in the front as well. But These stairs. They're the most important. We've got to get those done first. Okay. How's the stone coming? Ooh, nearly done with all the stone. Which is nice. It's very handy. Bucket. Let's go get some water. It is something I'd been considering, like, since last episode, I'd been thinking a bit about, YouTube and content creation. But I'd been thinking, because, well, I don't remember how much of my yap I cut. Oh, no, I guess I spoke about it in the beginning. But I'd spoken a bit about, the original series of, the Corumby Chronicles as, something that I was interested in, but didn't really put in all of the work necessary for such a story to be told, and then I very quickly lost interest with it. And to be fair, it wasn't really that well made, honestly. Mainly because I was recording with my Twitch, which is all well and good, but it does lead to the problem that I'd be like trying to work or do something, and then I just get these random peeps in chat giving me like, oh, have you heard of this product? I highly recommend it. I'm like, I don't. And because it would show up on the side of the screen, I couldn't just ignore it, so I had to be like, oh, yeah, okay. But now I use OBS Studio because I'm a mastermind. Wow, that was just... Anyway, I'd been thinking a bit about Corumby, and I spoke to a friend about it, because what I've been thinking is, what if I were to, I guess, revamp it, remaster it, but the difference would be that, firstly, I would use the Create mod, because that is awesome, and I'd really love to sink my teeth into the Create mod. I tried a bit with trains, because there was a mod pack my girlfriend had gotten me to play, and it featured the Create mod with trains. And so I was like, ooh, it's kind of fun. But I never really sat down and did it proper. I didn't do it justice. So I would really love to get into the Create mod. But irregardless, what if I did Corumby but with the Create mod, and I did proper research, and I play the villain of the story, being that, because Corumby was originally supposed to be about, one man, sets sail, finds land, decides to colonize. I know, genius. And it was called the Corumby Chronicles based off the, I'm pretty sure it's a book, called the Melbourne Chronicles, which is pretty much maybe not the origin story, but from what I remember reading, it was supposed to be a story about how Melbourne itself was founded. Really niche. I never read it, obviously. I just Googled and found out that there was something called the Melbourne Chronicles. But whatever the case. So it was just supposed to be like an origin story, and that would be how I would, run the world. But you can't get that far with just a bit of research. The most research I did was the fact that the Melbourne Chronicles exist, and the fact that I'd searched up the ship abbreviations of the time. So, the HMS, the RMS, yada, yada, yada. I forgot what I actually called my ship. It had a name, but I've completely forgotten. I'll have to rewatch. But, what's it called? I'd done that, and then fell out of favour, because, to be fair, I didn't do enough research, and I was kind of doing my own thing, yada yada. I just didn't really... Whoa. Hello again. It's Larry! Anyway. I didn't do enough research, and it sort of fell apart, and I was not as invested as I should have been. But then I was thinking about it recently, after bringing it up last time. And I was thinking, but what if? And let me plead my case. What if I play the villain, the colonizer. But then I make another series where I stage a revolution. Wouldn't that be awesome? Now, obviously, this would also require some NPC mods, because ain't no way I'm going to be able to do that without other characters being in the story. And I can't exactly, well, not that I can't, but I don't want to inconvenience my friends and be like, can you do this one thing for me? And, drag them into the content creation sphere. But I was thinking about it, like, wouldn't that be cool? And to be fair, I did acting for many years on stage. And I played a wide variety of characters, and by wide variety, I mean, by the end of it, I was pretty much typecast into playing all of the either weirdos or the villains. It's such great, it's a real confidence booster that you get typecast into playing all the weird people or the villains. Yeah, that's a sure boost of confidence to a 11-year-old. But yeah, I thought, I'd done it for so many years. I thought, man, wouldn't it be fun? Get the acting going again. And because I got typecast as so many villains until pretty much the very end of my days acting outside of school, wouldn't it be cool? It'd be right up my wheelhouse, apparently. So yeah, I was wondering about that. And if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments, even though I'm recording these all in advance, so I can't really get your feedback. But, it's the thought that counts. And I'm sure, by the time I start uploading these things, it's not going to be, what's it called? I'm not going to have gone, 1,000 episodes in or something. So, there's always a chance. Now I'm just remembering all my acting days. They were fun times. More or less. No, they were good. I did enjoy my time acting outside of school. Met a lot of people. It was actually through acting that I met the friend who introduced me to the Outsiders SMP, which I may or may not have briefly mentioned last episode. So, acting has its perks. I do remember I had when I was young, I had a very strong stance against acting versus singing or musical theatre. I used to really hate musical theatre and just singing in general, which, well, maybe not singing in general, but choir. I didn't like choir. Everything about choir just set me off. But then I got to high school, and the high school musicals were the big thing. And although I'd love to play music, and I ended up joining many of the bands, yada yada. By year 8, so I missed the audition in year 7, and frankly I wouldn't have wanted to do it anyway because it was High School Musical, and I'm not the biggest fan of High School Musical, the musical, and just High School Musical in general. But so yeah, I missed that one, whatever. The next year was the Addams Family, and I'm like, ooh, I like the Addams Family. I didn't even know they had a musical. Let's roll with it. So I went to audition, and this is what really ticked me off, because, doing acting outside of school, getting typecast into all the weird people and the villains, I thought, surely, this won't carry over into the Addams Family. Well, okay, I didn't really think that, but it was really funny when I got the role of Uncle Fester. Mind you, with no singing experience, because, as previously mentioned, I did not like choir all that much. So yeah, no singing experience, purely acting and being a silly Billy. And I got Uncle Fester, and I remember thinking afterwards, wait a minute, Uncle Fester's a little weird. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun. There was a day, it was before one of the rehearsals after school, and I actually hid in like the library because it was after the term break, and I was so scared because Fester in the musical is a bit of a, maybe not a lead role, but it's a minor lead. Like he's pretty important, and he's got a lot of stuff in it. Maybe not a lot, not as much as some of the others, but he's got his fair share of scenes and songs, yada yada. And I was so scared because I hadn't learned all my lines off by heart. So I was crapping bricks this rehearsal, and so I hid in the library because I was like, oh my god, they're gonna hate me. The directors are gonna be so mad with me. They're gonna kick me out of the show. Oh my god, what am I gonna do? And then eventually, my mum called me and said, go to rehearsal, I'm sure you're fine. And one of the directors came up to me and was like, dude, it's literally chill. Like, not even some of the leads have finished learning their roles. Like, you're fine, bro. And then I did all the musicals afterwards. Even during the lockdowns, we did Mary Poppins. Well, like we were going to do Mary Poppins, and then with all the lockdowns and stuff like that, didn't really get around to it. Look at me go. But yeah, we did Mary Poppins, and then we did it again the next year because it was unfair that some of the year 12s who, that would have been their last one, they didn't get to do it. So we did it again. And then we did Legally Blonde, the musical, and that, blew up. Up until that point, people were saying that Addams Family was, one of the more impressive musicals my high school had ever put on. And then Legally Blonde happened, and everyone went crazy. Legally Blonde was by far, up until that point, in my experience, and from what I had heard, it was the most, ridiculous. It was the biggest show my high school had put on. We even got we got nominated for a Guild Award, which is basically both high school and I think also professional theatre companies, they can apply to have a guild judge come and watch. So big award ceremonies, massive. Now, we only won for the dogs we had. Yes, that is how big we were talking. We had trained professional dogs to join us on stage. It was they went ballistic for this show. But yeah, we only won the award for the dogs, even though we got nominated for, I think, 9 of the awards you can receive. And we found it really funny because the dogs, not that they were the worst part, but they weren't, they did give us some difficulties during rehearsals and during the show itself, yada yada. But yeah, we were like, oh my god, so this is year 11, Legally Blonde. We're like, oh my goodness, how are we going to top Legally Blonde, where we did so much for that show? And then we did All Shook Up. Now, it's Larry again, bro. I've been having some bad luck with skeletons in this world. Hey, why are you coming after me? It's daytime. You're supposed to be chill. Alright, fine. I see how it is. Oh. Thank God. But yeah, so if you haven't heard of All Shook Up, now mind you, we were a little bummed because, after Legally Blonde, we're like, oh my days, how are we going to top this? And then we get All Shook Up, and no one's even heard of the thing, and we're like, okay, what's going on here? And we're all kind of bummed because for a lot of us, this was our last one, and we're going off with this thing that no one's heard of. And behind the scenes, don't even get me started on the behind the scenes. That was a disaster through and through. But whatever the case, All Shook Up, if I can summarize it in a few words, it is, whoever wrote it, I forgot who wrote it, or whoever came up with it, they looked at Shakespeare And they were like, And then they looked at the movie She's the Man, and they were like, And then they looked at Elvis, and they thought, what if we put all three of these together? And thus, All Shook Up was born. But nevertheless, I got the male lead. His name's Chad. He's pretty much Elvis. But he's also a bit of a horn dog, a bit of a player, which, again, so much for me playing nice, respectable men. Because in Addams Family, I was Uncle Fester. In Mary Poppins, I was one of the bankers, and I was also the policeman. So, repping, all the good people in the story. Then Legally Blonde, I played both Dewey, which is what's her name? It's gonna kill me if I don't remember this name. One moment, please. Paulette. It's Paulette. Jennifer Coolidge. It's Paulette's ex-husband. So, the tosser. But then I also got to play Kyle. His name was Kyle, right? I'm not crashing. I'm pretty sure his name's Kyle. Oh, well, in the musical his name's Kyle, but we know him as the UPS delivery guy from the movie. So at least I got to play, a very attractive young man. I even got to, because this is how big they went for Legally Blonde, I even got to meet, because he was friends with one of the teachers, I got to meet the guy who played the UPS guy in the actual Australian cast of Legally Blonde, which was just crazy, and I did ask him for tips. But yeah, I got to play that, and then I get to All Shook Up, and I get Chad, he's like one of the main characters, but he's halfway between nice and the biggest tosser on planet Earth. So, the way to go out on a bang. And then it was really funny because although we ended up having fun and the show was fun to perform and, I enjoyed it. I love Elvis. But yeah, we got to the end and it's near the end of the year and they're about to announce, what's next year's musical going to be? And then it's freaking Mamma Mia and we're like, you are shitting me. We go out on All Shook Up using repainted leftovers from Legally Blonde and they get Mamma Mia. Oh, I see how it is. Now, to be fair, obviously, getting shows and stuff like that is a lot more complicated than, I want to do this. But damn, bro, salt on the wound. I was bummed, but, I couldn't really care less. I was just about done with it anyway, given how much of a travesty it was behind the scenes. But I remember some of my fellow colleagues, some of my fellow students were less than pleased because, especially for some of them, because they were some of the most talented still left. There was a very big disparity, I don't know. There was a big gap in talent. Okay, that's a bit harsh to say. It's not that there was no talent. It's just that in my year level and the year level above, 1 year above and 1 year below, there was a lot of talent. Lots and lots of talent. But then after that, so if you go the year, even lower, there's a lot less. And then there's a lot less after that. So it was kind of difficult for some of my fellow, some of my mates and stuff to have to listen to, they get Mamma Mia and the, amount of talent is dwindling. Okay, dwindling's a bit of a harsh way to put it, because there was still plenty of talent. It was more talent in the lead aspect, because there were lots of talented dancers, yes. There were a lot of talented singers, yes. There weren't a lot of people who could do everything. There weren't a lot of jack-of-all-trade talent. And so, whilst there were good choices for singers or good choices for dancers, yada, 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 there wasn't someone who could do everything. Well, there weren't a lot of people like that left. So it was a bit of salt on the wound when it came to that sort of thing. But, you know, it's whatever. I went to go see the show the next year, and it was incredible. And I got to see a lot of my friends again. So funny. I felt like a celebrity half the time, because they're all coming up to me, and I'm just like, well, I'm here for you guys. It was very fun. There were actually a couple who, there were a couple of the students, some of the younger students, who every time I would show up to watch the musical or to go to the concerts, yada yada, they'd see me and they'd just go, "Oh, Chad!" Because of All Shook Up, and I thought that was really funny. I found that very endearing. But yeah, I sort of miss those acting days, which is partly why I wanted to revamp Coranby, because, you know, it'd give me an excuse. But yeah, I haven't been too sure. It's something I need to think about and, you know, actually plan this time, because my plans for Coranby were make City, go off, and that was about it. So, I'd need a lot more if I wanted to do it again. But, you know, still fun nonetheless, and I might get back into it. I haven't really done much in terms of acting whilst at uni. I haven't really done a whole lot of it. Mainly because I haven't really gone to look and see what the opportunities are. But, you know, maybe it's something I might consider. I remember one of my teachers had spoken about, back at high school, had spoken about making an alumni theatre company based only on the past students of my high school. And I said, you know, whenever that happens, let me know. I'll be there in an instant. But I haven't heard anything yet. And, you know, to be fair, things come up. Can't say, you know, can't demand it or anything. It's not mine to demand. Yeah. Story time. Oh, Jesus, there's a blinding light coming down that hallway. I'm sure there's a Weekend reference hidden in there somewhere. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, we've gotten a lot more farming done, which is great. But now, with this stone we got, I want to get onto building once I finish planting all these seeds. And I think the first step, I'm going to zhuzh up these stairs. I think that'd be a nice first step. Then I want to do the hallways, because I think they need a bit of zhuzh, a bit of love. And then... oh, I don't have nearly enough seeds. Oh, well. We'll come back to this. Let's work on this. So, stairs, hallway, maybe the front. Maybe. We did a bit of work on the front, but this is what I want to work on the most. So, to quote... actually, I shouldn't say to quote it if I don't remember who said it. To quote internet culture, Bravo 6, going dark. Let's lock in and maybe put on some of my music that I've made, because I also do that. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, let's lock in a sec. Okay, with that, staircase is done. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. It's a lot more proper now. Now I can fly up the stairs as well, which will be fun. Okay. Now I just need to fix up the hallway. I did. I think. Yeah, let's use stone. Sorry, cobblestone. I like the patchwork aesthetic. However, I will do this because I would like to make this one block taller. Oh. I did not know that this is where it came to be. Well then, oops. Guess I'll, there we go. Do that, I suppose. If you can't see it, it's not a problem. Nah. I will have to go back and add to that because I like that little cave tunnel. I don't know how to describe it, but I do like that part of where I've set up. Okay, and I think I'll just make a few more torches. Okay. Well, with that, I think I've been recording for a bit, so I may leave it there. Got a bit of work done today, getting our farm going, so we'll have food soon. I've got my beautiful staircase done. I've expanded my hallway, so now I can do this. And I've extended my little porch. So now I can look out and, I don't know, judge that spider over there. But yeah, thank you once again for joining me today. Obviously, if you liked what you saw and enjoyed this slower pace of content, be sure to like and subscribe. I've been Ozzy, thank you for joining me in my survival world yet again. And take care. Hope all is well.